Well, hello and welcome and hello, good evening, greetings and salutations. Thank you for joining me once again on Un Poco Mas. This is Danny Vegas, Danny Deals, Danny Dimes for Hurricane Lopez and Stock Karen. We would like to say welcome and hello. Thank you for joining us. It is September 27, 2023. It's 7:11 p.m. No, not the convenience store. The time of day out here in beautiful sort of sunsetting, darkening Los Angeles. Hope it's a great night wherever you are. Obviously, the post market is over for the day. Only those warriors who trade 24 hours a day on, I don't know, Robinhood or Webull or any of those turds who let you trade 24/7. It's not sort of a real market, but they kind of make it work. But anyway, guys, if today ends in a Y, which it does, of course, Wednesday, hump day, we would like to talk with you about SoFi Technologies Incorporated, ticker symbol SOFI. Guys, nice little day for the SoFi stock. We had some green in the markets. Everything was sort of hugging even all day. Nasdaq was up early, then dropped way down. Algo stepped it down, then just took off. SoFi stock sort of very much followed that same Nasdaq chart, but obviously a little bit more extreme. Did sort of a mountain and hump, double mountain, triple mountain, and then sold off all the way down to a low of $7.39. Then you see sort of the typical SoFi volume was 27 million shares, by the way. So bottoms out at exactly 1:40 p.m. at $7.39. You see buying until exactly 2:40 p.m. That's where it tops out. So exactly 60 minutes the algo's buy goes from 739 to 762 in 1 hour, guys. The stock with this market cap, this many shares, this many eyes on it, this many institutions in it, the stock goes up like 3% in 1 hour. So I'm not saying it's manipulation or unfair or cheating or anything like that. I'm just saying they have the stock on such a string. This thing is just completely controlled by computers. People talk, yes, there's a lot of retail investors in the stock, but they're holding shares. They put their money in. Retail investors don't, they're not as selective with entry points and building out positions. Retail investors tend to be the madmen at the poker table who just push all their chips in. And, maybe they get in at a good point, maybe they get in at a bad point, but they tend to go in too quickly. So these daily machinations of the stock price are not, millions of shares being purchased by retail just after lunch because, they had a delicious tuna fish sandwich. This is the algo manipulating the options, but how do they control the price? It's borrowing slash shorting activity, and it's volume. Guys, remember Friday? Let's just take a look at the SoFi chart here. This candle here on Friday, where the stock just basically drops off a cliff, from $8 down to 750 or below 750 all in one day for no particular reason. If you remember that, guys, volume really peaked there, almost 40 million shares, 38 million shares, and there was 9 million shares net borrowed according to Ortex anyway, and they tend to be at least the most accurate, counting in the dark pool and all these different things, aggregating that. They're at least the most accurate of anyone I've been able to find. And so 38 million shares, there was 14 million borrowed, 5 million returned, 9 million net. That accounts for this entire drop, guys. I mean, anybody who just thinks that retail investors or Fidelity or somebody just decided to sell all their stock at $8, I mean, they could have just sold up near 10. They could have sold, one day in the 11s. And here's something I want to note about support. I'm saying, this is reversing first off. I mean, today, the stock closed above the entire trading range of yesterday. We have three candles creating a reversal pattern. And the options are saying this is the bottom. A lot of things are saying this is the bottom. Now, just give you a for instance between today and yesterday. Today, 27 million shares traded, but look at the borrowing, guys. The volume not all that different. The borrowing is the difference. Okay, so live short interest, the borrow change is basically nothing. 500,000 shares return. So return shares almost six, borrowed shares 5.4, and about 500,000 shares. And what happens? The stock goes up 3%. And it goes up another percent after hours because they just stop borrowing the shares. That's how they control the price. That's how they drop the price. Over the 3 days, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, the net borrow was about 15 million shares. Okay? And they only churned about 84 million shares or something all 3 of those days. 15 million net shares. So, like 20% of the entire churn. And I see all these guys on YouTube, they're like, well, the stock's selling off. Like, people are getting cold feet. People are worried about the people aren't doing jack shit. This is algorithms dumping the stock, trying to stop people out, trying to kill options, trying to manipulate retail into buying. Watch this thing run up and then dump these options on stupid retail turds tomorrow. Let's take a look at the options just for fun, guys. I don't plan, as if you couldn't tell, I don't plan or look at any information. No, I can't give out no information. As they said in No Country for Old Men at the trailer park there, he's like, I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss. Have you been up to his trailer? Like, yes. Well, he's probably at work. Like, where does he work? I can't give out no information about our residents. Where does he work? Did you not hear me? I can't give out no information. Anyway, I digress. But guys, as far as the options go, they're all at $8 and then a lot at 750. The 750 options went up today. Um, they might push it up a little bit tomorrow, dump those on but they're really trying to kill $8. I mean, yesterday maximum pain was $8, but today with all those options opened up now at 750, they kind of, they kind of play down to that lowest common denominator, open those options up, and then I believe they'll dump them on retail. And they're going to definitely try to kill the options at 8, but will they try to kill those options at 750? I think it depends a lot on the overall market. Obviously, not everything revolves around SoFi. The sun doesn't rise and set at the feet of Anthony Noto. Perhaps the hair, but not the feet. But SoFi anyway, $7.68. So taking a look at the chart, guys, I'm just trying to establish this cockamamie concept of a pivot point or critical support or resistance range. So instead of a point, like for instance, guys, a lot of people would say, okay, the highest the stock jumped to up here was what? I don't know, $11.70 or whatever it was. So people would say, well, that's resistance, 1170. Come on, guys, that number doesn't mean anything. That's just where the last idiot was willing to buy some shares. The real number here is like 10, is high nines, because that's where you actually make a market. I would say it's, this level here, $9.57, $9.60 has a hell of a lot more meaning than $11.70, which really doesn't mean anything. And this 955 level is right where it was parked. Before look at this. This level here, even here, $9.55 means a lot more than this $10.30. $10.30 doesn't mean anything. Nobody makes a market there. There's not buyers and sellers there. There's algorithms not even trading. It's just, a few foolish retail people are willing to be the last sheep to change course and regain the flock, and they get suckered in and they get driven off a cliff like some goddamn lemmings, because that's what they are. That's who buys those tops. That's who buys these pump and dumps. You get killed later. You dump down here. Market makers take your money, rinse and repeat. You end up on the breadline. You end up, hopeless and helpless down at the bowling alley, trying to just break 100. But you can't do it because you've had one too many light beers and you just can't hold your liquor. Guys, if that story sounds a little bit like you, kind of get a hold of yourself and realize that $8, even though people like me, big loudmouth hacks, have been touting the number 813 for months, put it out of your mind. Forget everything I've said. Don't do what I do what I say, or however that phrase goes. But if you look back, guys, I know this $8 number has been critical a little bit here, but the fall from 8 to 750 was a complete fugazi. It was based on that 9 million shares net borrowed that one day. It's, 20 some percent of the whole churn that day was borrowed. It's ridiculous. And if you go backward, guys, look at this. The real action here is at 7:45-ish. It's not at 8, it's right here. Look at all those candles. As you go back, you see the same thing. It's in this range, guys. It's a range. People talk about critical levels. You really should be talking about critical ranges because that's where the market makes, that's how you define the edge of the market. Okay, same thing here. Same thing here. Same thing here. You have the stock trying to make a market in this range and then it gets rejected. It gets rejected. But it's not specifically right at 8 at 813. It's this critical range, 742ish to $8. You fell down, but it was a fugazi. You have 3 candles telling me we're coming back up. As soon as we don't get borrowing activity, same basic volume, same basic scenario, market still, it's basically flat, the same as it was on Tuesday. What's the difference? Tuesday, the stock didn't even freaking move, guys. Tuesday, the stock's just hugging. This algorithm's hugging it. It's giving it a big hug. Taking a big swim in Lake U. Look at this thing trading sideways. Look at them beat this thing up. It's insane on the 22nd. This selling, this shorting is just insane. These huge red candles. They're shorting into what? They're shorting, the third quarter's over, guys. We're going to see big deposit growth. I think we're going to see $3 billion. I don't think earnings per share is going to be all that wonderful, but I think the growth is going to be surprising yet again. And remember, they did a pump and dump. Someone in the comments I was like, well, they've tried a dump and pump. They did a pump and dump. Maybe this time they're going to do a pump and just send this thing to the moon already. Your lips to God's ears, my friend. That may be what happens after all. No new ratings on the SoFi stock. Still Jeffries reiterating the buy at $15 was the last rating. John Heck. So that represents like 100% upside. Citibank has 60% upside on the stock. Mizuho 100%. Some of these turds have some downside. Chia Pet from Wedbush has 60% downside on the stock, and the bologna sandwich. Giuliano Bologna, the beak, the forehead, he's got a 34% downside on the stock. Um, Bank of America, Mahir Bhatia has 50% upside. You got Andrew Jeffrey with Truist, who's the top rated analyst out of anyone on this page. 62% of the time he's right. 11% average return. He has a 110% upside on the stock. So just gives you an idea where some of the top Wall Street analysts are. You have a lot of positive press out on Seeking Alpha, but just critically, guys, if you go over to Ortex, it's not a huge mystery, you know, how these guys operate. Look at the last month. Okay, so the short interest and the borrowing, just massive increase right here. Friday, September 26th. You see the short interest actually go up by like a quarter point that one day. And days to cover go up by like zero point 0.4 days that one day. So that's a big increase in the short. You had big volume that day. So that was just the day market makers decided to push the stock down 50 cents. It was not a sell-off, guys. People are like, the sell-off, people are getting cold feet. Absolutely not. And people came in and bought back up those shares. I don't think these are the smart people shorting the stock at this point. These are the actual mechanics. These are the people that just can't stop. These are the people that chase all their losses on Monday Night Football, after they've lost the rent money on Sunday. These are the people just glutton for punishment, the people that can't admit they were wrong, the people that have been waiting for that devastating ER that the Chia Pet thought he was going to get in Q1, that these turds thought they were going to get for the pump and dump in Q2. Yes, they can move the stock from 1150 to 750, but it costs them money. They have to borrow a ton of shares. Those guys that are short long, a lot of them had to go to pure short to make this happen. That's the reason the borrowing is going up so much and the short interest is remaining relatively flat, in my opinion. If you have some more analysis, please talk to me down in the comments. But guys, rather pedestrian day, only 27 million shares traded, and the stock is up 20%. Or not 20%, I'm sorry, 20 cents, and up another 8 cents after hours, total of about 3.75% increase, counting the after hours action. Upstart and Affirm up like 1% and 2% respectively. Palantir having a day up 6%, but Palantir has been getting beat up pretty good a little bit here lately. Even Lucid up the same as SoFi. So the growth stocks, guys, having a good day. PayPal getting beat up once again. Whoa. So financials kind of mixed, credit cards down, but some good articles. SoFi versus Upstart, better buy. SoFi versus New, better buy. Of course, Motley Fool likes to go into a lot of that. But guys, just looking at the chart, what's going to happen the next couple of days, looking at the options. Personally, I think the stock is going to push up toward $8. I think the shorts did everything they could to push it down there, but the market's not falling apart. SoFi's not falling apart. We have an ER coming out in just over a month, and I think basically what the mechanics are doing is positioning, like you said, for some kind of move. It's either going to be a pump and dump or a dump and pump. No one is suspecting Noto pulls a rabbit out of his hat and announces a net profit this quarter. I don't think it doesn't seem at all possible given what they announced last quarter, even with a lot of growth. Even with expanding that loan portfolio, even with those margins looking very, very good, unless there's some huge revenues coming in from Galileo or, some just major, major surprise, some rapid growth that we didn't see, some deal we didn't see. I just don't think there's any way we make a net profit this quarter. So I think shorts, market makers, mechanics will line up and try to tee off on the stock and tee off on retail's Apple bag just once again and ring out retail. There's just so many weak hands in this stock, guys. It's all in the press. Everybody's talking about it, but when it starts to fall off a cliff, guys, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but they just press that sell button. They just panic. They go, "Oh my God, it's 7:45. I'm going to dump." And, maybe in another month it'd be back to $10. And, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be at 5. But my point is, guys, don't set stop losses. Don't buy these short-term options. Just buy long shares that they can't manipulate. If you think SoFi is going to be a great stock in 5 to 10 year time frame, just buy it and put it away for that time frame. I mean, yeah, if it goes on a pump and dump and it goes up, 20, 30% in one day, maybe flip a portion of your shares, guys, but don't panic at the bottom. Don't panic sell at the bottom. That's what these shorts and market makers live on. That's how they make their living, is just scaring you into selling at big losses when there's no reason to. And this stock is going to go back up because it's a quality stock. The growth doesn't stop. The growth story is intact. The profit story is intact. Everything management has been telling us is coming to fruition. Keep the faith. Remember that Bon Jovi song, Keep the Faith? Or that, it's terrible. But the sheep are coming in. They're lining it up. They're positioning. That's what this shorting has been about. That's where they'll put the price action right where they want it. But all they have to do is basically start buying and selling, create this quick narrative about the ER in the media, sheep pile in, and then market makers get people to move in unison how they want. And they can just manipulate the hell out of that flock of sheep, moving slowly and stupidly without much thought. Don't be a sheep, guys. Be a member of the turd army. Think for yourself. Do your own DD. Pick your entry points carefully and never chase, guys. That's the idea. It's Un Poco Moss. My name's Danny Deals. Thank you for tuning in. Topper time check, 7:30 p.m. out here in beautiful Los Angeles on September 27th. 2023. It's the SoFi stock, ticker symbol SOFI for Hurricane Lopez and Stock Karen. It's Danny Deals. Wishing you a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Hope you have a great one. Be safe out there. And remember, not financial advice. Buy SoFi. Buy SoFi. Not financial advice. I am certainly not someone you should be listening to. Listen to your father.